Hello, everyone. We're here to discuss the upcoming Marvel's Avengers video game that's coming out. The beta is this weekend, Mason. Did you know that?
I didn't know
From
that.
From one beta to another. Did you know that? And are you excited? That's
Excuse me?
I got you.
Oh, no.
Is that a joke?
I actually got to play this a bit early on the weekend before.
And I was offered the chance, but there were a lot of installations to be done and things to register, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I'll just come to your house and watch.
That's right.
Because you said, hey, do you want an access code for this?
What is that?
It's fine. That's what you said.
Yeah, and look,
And I went, fine, you
I
say?
do want to get into what I like and don't like about it.
Okay.
There'll be some minor spoilers for some things that were revealed in the trailers and for what is in the beta. If you've seen any of the videos about what is on display, that's what it is.
Yeah,
so
right.
Essentially, I'm not going to spoil anything beyond that because I don't actually have that information. I also want to point out that this is not a paid endorsement. This is a code that I got. And in addition to that, this is a beta. It's not the full game, which means it's not finished. It can still be tweaked.
Subject to change,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's right.
Yeah.
So the things that I like or don't like could very well change.
Like the fact that, you started up and it just immediately crashed.
Yes, that's
and you
right.
couldn't play it at all.
I couldn't play it at all.
Couldn't play it at all.
Played it.
We're just kidding. We're just kidding. But presumably it started up perfectly, James.
It did. Well, look, to be fair, it didn't glitch. I didn't get stuck in a wall or anything like that.
Okay.
That's often something you can experience in beta, so it does run well. So just to explain what was in it, you get a few of the main line missions in the game, including the very first one, and you get a few optional kind of exploration ones where you can ramp your stats up on your characters.
Okay, right.
There's 4 playable characters on the whole, which you can get to, but there's some that you play in the opening mission which you don't get to play more of.
I see.
So it's Ms. Marvel, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow. But in the opening mission, you get to play as Thor as well.
Ooh.
Who kind of plays like Kratos from God of War, which is a lot of fun. So it does open on the bridge, and the footage we're using here is I wasn't able to record any of my own footage, so this is stuff that's officially come over from Square Enix.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, so you basically, it's quite scripted in that you play as different characters as you progress down through the bridge, and you get a feel of every one of the characters. But the on-rails nature of it does a really good job of kind of exploring how the characters do perform and who does what. And I think I prefer this game when it does put you on very specific and linear missions and objectives.
I think there are 2 camps in terms of superhero action-adventure games, and they can broadly be defined as Arkham Asylum or Arkham City.
This is different again, though, from the sense that it's not an open world. You select your missions from a map.
Yeah, right.
And you get to choose where you want to go. So you can go down your mainline stuff, or if you want to level up your Ms. Marvel to get even bigger, smashier hands.
And who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Big smashy hands are in this year.
You can absolutely do that. The story elements I quite liked because it is about one of the key Avengers is murdered up top, and then you kind of trying to rebuild the Avengers and rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. as AIM has taken over.
Yes.
And they've got facilities all over the place that you got to go and then take down. Those kind of missions I didn't really enjoy because they were the side missions. These are the drop zone missions I'm talking about, not the bigger, more expansive war zone missions. You'd pick a character. There might be a little bit of an open space, but more often than not, you're in a facility and you run down a corridor and you smash up a generator, or you got to stand at a terminal while the terminal loads and you got to fight guys off.
Okay, but how do all those facilities look? They all look
They mostly
individual.
look the same.
They're the same picture.
Oh,
They're
no, that's a shame.
And again, these are optional side missions, but I just found them very generic and very uninteresting for the most part, because once you play one, it's pretty much the same
But
thing.
you're fighting a diverse cast of villains, aren't you?
They're mostly
Drones
different
and-
robots and things like that. And they're quite chaotic, and there is a feeling for me that it is very much like your Ultimate Alliance, because you can do it in a team of 4 and you do have differing abilities. But I think maybe this game would have benefited from focusing on less characters. The character that I gravitated towards was Black Widow, because you could kind of play it like a third-person shooter. She's quite acrobatic. She's got a rope that she can kind of swing on, like a grappling hook. And she's got like a big stick that you can hit people with, and
I'm sold.
it's all these kinds of things. But then when you've got the Hulk and you've got him in a corridor with drones,
Yes.
that's not interesting because the environment, it's quite destructible, but you're stuck in a corridor as the Hulk.
Or if you're Iron Man and you're sort of...
Yes.
You're a man who can fly.
Exactly.
And you're stuck in that corridor. And also, you can't switch characters within a mission.
Within the mission. Maybe there is a way to do that, but to my knowledge, there isn't. You have to load
you refuse
back
to touch anything on the right side of your controller.
in. I would never, and I still haven't.
That's
But
right.
That being said, though, if you take Iron Man or the Hulk into an outdoors area...
They can barbecue.
They can barbecue. Well, that's a lot more fun. But again, I feel like for reference for a Hulk game that I love, and I think everybody does, is Ultimate Destruction. It doesn't have that kind of destructibility and feel that game does. I think a lot of this game, though, is supposed to be played as a multiplayer. And for me, there was the option to play it in multiplayer, but a lot of people didn't have didn't have the beta in the world at the
see,
time.
right,
So,
yeah.
And I was on, obviously, because I'm in Australia, I'm on different time zones, so I couldn't find anybody to I was going to say hook up with.
Oh my
Mason,
goodness,
you know what I mean?
you're a married man.
That's right. But this game, I feel, though, is strongly built for that.
Yeah, right.
I'm someone who loves single-player games, and I'm probably never going to go online for this. But if you like Ultimate Alliance and you like playing with a team and you like bringing in friends, then I think playing this game like that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, like as you were saying earlier with, Hulk Ultimate Destruction, that's a game that has been built entirely around one character. And that's how they can, make the environment so suitable for that. And in making it a multiplayer game where it's multiple different characters with different power sets and skill sets, they sort of have to make it a little bit more general.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have to kind of, say, okay, well, what's an environment that they can all sort of move around in?
And I think that is the problem for me of this game where, say, Spider-Man and Batman, they're so niche and molded around that particular character, it works, but you kind of have to build an environment which is conducive to all these different characters. And even though they do play differently, it doesn't feel like necessarily that they all fit those particular environments. And that also, of course, could be a design choice, because the reason I gravitated to Black Widow is because, a lot of that was like running down a corridor stuff, and it worked perfectly for me.
Yes.
That being said, other people, you can level up your other characters and maybe you build a particular Hulk that works well in that environment. But for me, I want Hulk outdoors in the world, bounding, flipping cars and that kind of stuff. And when you get the opportunity to use like him and Iron Man in one of the bigger environments, it does come together for me and feel a lot better. That being said, there is a mission, one of the story missions you do with Ms. Marvel, where you also play as the Hulk and you fight the Abomination.
Right.
And some of that is scripted. And I feel like when they put in these scripted elements, and I don't mean on rails, I mean like story beats that happen.
Yeah.
That's when the game really became more engaging for me. And I think also the problem with me enjoying this game is I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima and going from that game to this.
Okay.
I mean, that game to me is like incredible. I love everything about it. I'm not a big open world game guy, but I really enjoy all the side missions in that.
So what does that game have
up.
that Marvel's Avengers currently does not have?
For one, I think the combat in that is infinitely better, but that's got combat which is unlike. Well, it's not unlike any other game. There's a lot of games that are like it.
But it's got a defined
it's
style,
so
and that's what you need.
Yeah, in the way it does.
And this game seems to have it seems to be a lot of all the heroes arrive in a room and then there's just a bunch of robots or whatever, and it's just aim generally in their direction and fire and swing and hope that you smash them out of the air and whatever.
It did become at points this game just kind of a button smasher. And there are also different techniques and abilities you can use. Like, for example, the Hulk does a really big clap.
Yes.
And like kind of shatters everything around him. But then often in this, you'll come across a guy with a shield. And I'm like, I'm the Hulk. He's got a shield. Like it shouldn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. And again, it's the idea around this sort of more generic build. It's not ideal. The idea that you could sort of replace any of these characters with any other superhero or really any other, just a guy with a gun. And again, if you could definitely say, well, it's got, it's got the look of the characters that I like, and they all have, various special weapons and they fight with, Iron Man fights with repulsors and unibeams and lasers and stuff like that. But if the game is moving at such a clip, like such a pace that you can't really tell what's happening.
And if you're in a little room.
Yeah, right, exactly. Then it does just look like in a series of red flashes and yellow flashes and sparks
flying everywhere, yeah. And the thing is, though, when it does kind of slow down and you get the kind of one-on-one moments with enemies, you can see that they are designed quite differently and they all do different things.
Yeah.
But it does become kind of chaotic at points. There was one particular mission that I was doing where every time I'd go in, I seemed to be at some point, if you're playing single player, you can get down 2 times and you can get revived, but if you get down a 3rd time, it's over. But I just kept hit by this kind of lightning gun for what seemed like nowhere. And so I die almost instantly. And I did it like 3 or 4 times. And there wasn't like the feeling like, oh man, I really want to get through this. I was just like, I don't give a shit about this.
Right.
And I'm not doing this mission because it was I got to just break into another facility.
Yeah, exactly right.
But that being said, like some of the special abilities are really fun. Like Ms. Marvel turns into a giant version of herself and just kind of stomps through hitting people.
Iron Man has the Hulk Buster.
Iron Man has the Hulk Buster. So there's these really fun abilities that you can use.
Hulk does a mocking version of Iron Man, presumably. Because, it comes from both sides.
Yeah. But also, I'm not one who likes kind of messing around with stats and doing loadout stuff. The micromanagement stuff.
Yes.
And there's quite a bit of that here.
Does it ease you into it?
I think it does, but also there's a button you can press and it just gives you the optimum loadout. So you don't even need to worry about any of that stuff. But again, I feel like if you are going to play this game and you like multiplayer, that might be the way to approach it, because if you're in an environment and you're getting swarmed by dudes and then one of your friends runs in from off screen as the Hulk and just does the big Hulk clap and just pushes everybody back, that would be a really fun multiplayer moment that you don't experience in the single
You can
player.
only experience it with your bros.
That's right. Experience it with your bros is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So look, I know a lot of people don't love the design elements of it and the faces and things like that because it does feel like the movie version of the Avengers light. I can't really argue with that, but to me, graphically, this game does look really good. And you do settle into the design elements of the characters, and also you can switch up so much of their look.
When we had to settle into different versions of those characters when the movies began.
I'm still not used to it,
right?
Quite frankly.
Chris Evans, yucko.
I'm glad he's retired after 10 years of doing it or whatever. All in all, like I wish I could say like I was blown away by it. I loved it. There are certain things that I really enjoyed, but there were some things here that made me go, I didn't have a great time with it, unfortunately. But that being said, there are things here that I've mentioned that people watching this have probably heard that go, that's actually right up my alley. Like if you weren't happy with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which a lot of people weren't, I think this might be the answer to that game for you.
Yeah, right,
And that being said, this weekend, it's available. Anybody can play it.
Yeah, right.
If you want to know for yourself, it's free and you should definitely check it out if you have any interest in it, because it's free and why not? You do have to register a Square Enix account as well to do that. So that's great. If you love doing extra stuff.
I do.
Then you're going to love it, Mason.
Oh my God, I love signing up to things and brand new gauntlets.
Based off what you've seen.
Yes.
And
no is the answer.
You're not really keen on it?
What I want, if there are recognizable characters, I want a strong storyline, and I want to be able to complete a strong storyline without having to spend hours and hours and hours in side missions boosting up my stats and things like that.
And I also don't know what that's going to look like in the actual game, because I'd imagine a lot of that will be optional and you won't need to do it.
Okay.
But I know sometimes there's a compulsion if they're sitting there to be like, well, if I want to get the most out of this mission, then maybe I should level up my character. I don't know what that balance is going to look like at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, and again, if people really seem to like micromanagement and gear upgrades and things like that. But for me, the trend for that kind of just gets in the way of the game for me,
I think it can be done well. Like if you look at the loadout for like, I keep coming back to it, but Spider-Man or even Ghost of Tsushima, there are games where you could do all of that and I think it flows really well. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying that I didn't really have that much of an interest. Again, this is just the beta. And also like there's a button you just go, just the best loadout, please. Yeah. Also, I really wish Iron Man kind of controlled better. I kind of surprised me that I went back to Black Widow. I'm like, nah, this is where I'm at.
Because he can fly, but it's a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think flying games in general are quite difficult to pull off, you know what I mean? So if you're looking for an Iron Man experience, maybe the VR one is the way to go at this point.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, look, we're not experts on video games. That's not what this channel really does. We talk about how much we hate Transformers.
Look, after this video, I feel like I am an expert in video games. So
I think you need to bear that in mind going into it. But we are a fan of these kind of blockbuster video games and any particular comic book properties. So that I guess you need to look at this video from that perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
But again, it's free, so you should really make up your own mind on this, what you think. And let us know what you think. Tell us we're idiots. We love
in the comments, please.
Yeah, tell us we're old men who don't know anything.
Yes.
Which is not inaccurate.
A what?
Yes, Mason.
Oh, my God.
Also, though, we do have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday. We'll probably circle back around to this then. I'd love to hear if people would leave a comment or hit us up on Twitter at Mr. Sunday Movies. At
Wikipedia Brown. Yeah, I mean, if
they think of this,
if this game comes out, the final build of it, and they've addressed some of the issues people have had, and they go, it's a fun single player experience with a good story. I'm going to give it a whirl, but I don't want to grind. I don't want to grind for this.
Also, the other thing is I've spoken to literally nobody who's played this, so it could be universal love. I have no idea.
You might be the old curmudgeon.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I am, though, aren't I, Mason?
That's right.
I'm paid to say bad things about Marvel, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, currently, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Grab that jam, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.